Okay, what's up, world? We are back here with Angel Soto. This is where we at. Trendsetters, go-getters. Not only a trendsetter and a go-getter, an innovator and creator. We're going to get right into it and see how the business runs on this episode of What's Real Hip Hop. What's going on, world? This is your boy, Big Business. We are back here live with what I like to call the Tampa Ambassador of Music, Mr. Angel Soto. Why would I call him an ambassador? Well, very few people in this area have had their own music store, have their own label, and are forming their own radio station. And this is all within a very small amount of time. So just blessed to have you here, and we're gonna get right into it because you definitely are one of music's, Tampa's own trendsetters and go-getters. There's so many things I want to ask you because what we've been discussing is trendsetting and go-getting in the Bay Area. And how long have you been doing this with this music?
Man, that's a loaded question. I started DJing out of my bedroom in the early 90s.
Okay.
Does that count?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Out of my bedroom, friends threw parties. I go play at their house, and through that process, I discovered that record shopping was my happy place.
Okay. Elaborate when you say record shopping was your happy place. You mean you liked to go, like I remember, I don't know how many people remember Specs and places like that, when that new pop drop or that new, they used to have those weird times like 12:01. So you stay up, talking about what you thought the album was going to have on it, or something of that nature. Is that what you mean, or was it a situation where you kind of just like to go and see undiscovered artists? I know sometimes I used to like discovering that new, like no one else had ever heard before.
Yeah, it was a lot of digging. Mm-hmm. It wasn't necessarily your Peaches or your big chain stores. It was a small mom and pop stuff. A lot of singles, going through bins. A lot of times you didn't know what an artist would sound like, but you'd go by the label. Right. That record label had previously given you good stuff. You'd take a chance at it. Right. Go through flea markets, going through thrift stores and whatnot, and just getting dusty and whatnot. So that time that I'd spent going through that motion was I'd forget about the world, forget about the problems, and the process that followed that was actually even more magical. Okay. And it makes me sad that kids today miss out on that process.
Right.
Because you go home, you open your CD or your record, whatever the case was, and you put that needle, you hear that popping, and the music starts to play, right?
Right.
And you have your record label there. And as the music goes, you're looking at the artwork and you're reading the credits and you're going through, and I don't like this one, let me skip to the next one.
Right.
Oh, I really like that one. Let me listen to it again.
Right.
That process is lost.
Absolutely.
Completely. That was my happy place.
And see, for somebody who's younger than 25, they may not understand exactly, what he's trying to articulate and doing an excellent job. You used to take pride in finding something that no one else had.
Yes.
Which, in essence, if you took it a little bit deeper, it might have been something that identified a feeling that you couldn't express yourself, but you found that expression in the music. And once you found that, you never lost that track.
Right.
So when you lost yourself, you could still play that track. And it would take you to a place that brought you somewhere to, like, this is home. Music used to represent a place that you couldn't articulate. That's why they call them artists. Visually, it should be something when you see it on a movie screen. But as an artist, from a listening standpoint, music's supposed to evoke a certain feeling.
Absolutely.
And the best music, you can't describe that feeling because it only happened on that particular track.
Well, music is the sound life of our lives. The artists have an incredible responsibility when they're making that music, when they're sending out that message. They have to understand that maybe not now, but years from now, someone's gonna hear that song and it's gonna evoke so many feelings and memories, and that is such an important responsibility. We can't take it lightly. As a community, we talk about, yes, this is the music business. I understand. We're here to make a profit. Profit is not a dirty word. Right. With that being said, we're also artists, and the responsibility that comes with creating art is even bigger, because there's a kid somewhere listening to what you're making, and they're taking that in, and it's creating stuff in here. It's making them go through some emotions, and that is so powerful.
You do more than hip hop, obviously, with the label that you have, Benton Records. So you have a unique experience where you have all different types of genres and artists that you work with.
Cool.
So tell me how you got to the point to where you actually felt, we were talking about certain things like being authentic and being comfortable in your own skin. I know that had to be a process to feel comfortable saying, you know what, I think I want to take this to a different level and be a trendsetter and be a go-getter in that realm, which, correct me if I'm wrong, was anybody around you doing that back when you started that?
Well, one never goes into this trying to be a trendsetter or go-getter. Record shopping was my happy place. I want to open a record store so I could always be in my happy place. That was the logic. It was, it was a bit romantic. But there was plenty of record stores, there was plenty of independent record stores. But life has a funny way, the universe has a funny way in pushing you in the direction that you're supposed to go if you listen and pay attention. So I never intended to open a hip hop shop. That was never the intention. But what happened is, through the process of buying music and finding distributors and finding the records, almost all of them ended up being hip hop. So when the hip hop DJs would come to the store, it was all hip hop, and it became known as a hip hop shop. We sold a whole bunch of different types of music and whatnot. Now, when you fast forward to the record label, our influences still are very strong in the urban genres. I think we have more R&B artists than hip hop artists, but I love all kinds of music. So if I hear something and if I become a fan of what I'm hearing, I don't care what it is.
Right.
Let's do something.
Yeah. And I mean, several artists that I know, C. Renee, there's countless others that you work with here locally, and they've had, a lot of success working with you and projecting that music out to the world. And, the events, I want to go from the record label to how the Tampa Music Conference started, because it was inspiring to me, because there were not many things. I think the first one, maybe 2008?
2004.
Okay, that's the first one I went to.
Okay.
In 2008, and I didn't see anything like that here.
Those are the Sun Dome.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I never saw anything like that here in the area. So it kind of inspired me to say, you know what, there's something more to this besides, because at that point I was an artist, and I was focusing on that. Now I'm focusing on different things. How did that process come about to where you said, I need to create this event?
It's just like everything else in my life. I kind of get a thought and it doesn't leave, and I just do it. I don't really overthink it, and sometimes that's not a good thing. Sometimes it hurts and you make mistakes. I've made way more mistakes than successes. The difference is I always learn from my mistakes. The Tampa Music Conference came about us always going to other cities for their conferences. We go to TJ's, we go to Orlando, we go to Miami, and back then, I don't know if you remember, there was TampaHipHop.com. Everybody was on TampaHipHop.com, and there was always chatter about, we need to do a conference, we need to do a conference, we need to do a conference. And one day I just said, man, listen, I'm just gonna do it. Like, someone said they were gonna do it, they never did it, and I'm just gonna do it. So I was at the record store, and across the street from the record store was the Event Factory. That's the venue where we held our first one.
Right.
I walked across, because it was just across the street, went in and asked them, hey, how much to rent this spot for a Thursday? And they said, so much. I said, okay, well, what about this day? Is it available? They said, yeah. I said, okay. And then went back across the street to the store and said, hey, went on Tampa Hip. I said, Tampa Music Conference on this day and that day. I had no idea I had no business winning it. No business doing a music conference. But, we'd be happy if 100 people or so came out. We were just like, man, you think 100 people will come out? We had over 300 people that first time.
Wow.
Totally unprepared. And I'm assuming that high that I felt that night is what a junkie chases his whole life. Because that feeling, I was like, oh my God, it happened, it came together. I've chased that feeling the rest of my life.
Passion. Now, just tell some of the people, because I know a little bit more, but who are some of the people who actually, graced the conference? I mean, there's been so many.
Oh goodness.
Just some of the ones that were special to you.
Wendy Day's always on top of that list. Wendy Day is a big supporter of the Tampa Music Conference. If her schedule allows it, she usually comes. She's probably been the one on the panel the most.
Right.
Michael Watts, Michael Clark, and from Texas. Big Money said, rest in peace. Was very special. At our conference, he said the one quote that echoes in time. He said, a hit is a motherfucking hit. And that just drove, that message just went to so many people that's him. And I don't know, TJ Chapman, the guys from the Justice League. There's a bunch of them.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of them. BMI's always come through and help us out. I can't even try to remember.
Yeah, I mean, there's been so many, and you've kind of shown, why you do this. Let me ask you this question: what do you want to see in the Bay Area happen that you don't see happening right now, as far as the music is concerned?
I want everybody to stop worrying about being the ones to put Tampa on the map. That's nonsense. I mean, just stop just making good music. I want everybody to realize that there's a business side that is very important. Take care of the business side. If you take care of the business side, the other stuff will be okay. I want everyone, and I know this is not going to be a popular thing to say, but I want everyone to stop talking about let's work together.
True.
Why do I say that? Because that's not in our nature. It's not human nature. As humans, we always want to know what's in it for us. Now, what we need to figure out is how we could make things happen that helps everybody. And I know it sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but when we say, we got to get together and find somebody and support that person and push it, the rah-rah, the cheerleading, it doesn't work, and we're fooling ourselves, and that's just a lot of unicorns and rainbows. That's not life. That's not true life. What we could do is sit in a room like this one, mutually respect each other, understand that you have something that I can learn from, I have something that you can learn from, share that information. Sharing of information is probably number one on that list that you just asked me, of that question that you just asked me of, what do I like to see? I'll give you an example. Computers. When they first started, IBM, Apple, yada, yada, yada. If you had an IBM computer, you had to buy an IBM monitor, and an IBM keyboard, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And computers were stuck for years. And as soon as they started sharing information and standardizing everything, it blew up. It blew up. So the sharing of information is what got that industry to where it's now. Another example is the medicine. What happens if a doctor finds a cure for something and keeps it to himself, doesn't publish it, doesn't share the information? It goes nowhere. It's the same thing with us. I get told all the time that Angel, you should charge for that. You know what? Those are just seeds that I'm planting. Eventually they'll come back. I'm not worried about that. Because if I give you a nugget and you go and you do something with it, man, I'm so happy for you. But you're going and getting that off of my nugget has absolutely no effect on my failure or my success. So why should I worry about what information I give? Because my business is not to sell information. My business is to put the product, which is the music, out into the world.
Right.
That's really my business. And if I could help another person in the meantime, then why not do it?
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because what you're saying is a transformative process, because people have a mindset of what they think people who are successful do. And what you're saying, I'll be honest, I'm sure it doesn't equal out to what people who say, oh, that's how he approaches business. I thought he should charge for that. Or I'm worried about what the next man thinks based upon what they're doing. He just seemed like he was curious and had passion and drive. Passionate about the music. Hey, I've never thrown a music conference. I walk across the street, ask you how much you're going to charge. But here again, I think we've been discussing that. Knowing who you are and being comfortable in your own skin. It starts with that, and I'm just glad that you had that. And I think that's probably something that you always had your whole life, because I don't think you can go find a comfort zone that gives you permission to do the things that you've done?
Success is scary. Success is really, really scary. And I think that the closer you get to it, the harder it gets, so the scarier it gets. So a lot of people know what they want to do. They're so scared to take that first step. And even if they take step 3, 4, 5, and 100, the closer you get, the scarier it gets. When it gets, you hear people say, "Oh man, it just got real." When it gets real, it gets really scary. And what happens with me, and I'm sure it happens with other people who are entrepreneurs, is that feeling is energizing. That feeling, yeah, man, I get scared too. Half of the time I pretend I know what I'm doing. But you know what? I know that if I don't go for it, I'm definitely not gonna get it. That's a guarantee. If I don't try, it's definitely not gonna happen. That's the one thing I know for sure. If I try and I fail, next time I might turn it around, try to change something, and then just keep going. But I think fear is the fear. A lot of people are afraid of taking that first step. And there's another mistake that we make as human beings, in that we put up walls and barriers that don't exist. And man, that gets on my nerves. Like, you ever meet those people who have a problem for every solution? Like, there's really no, like, wait a minute. Just do it, man. Just do it. Oh, I need some money. Man, yes. You need money. It says that the industry standard is that you need $250,000 to break an artist.
Right.
I don't have $250,000. I'm not stopping. Because eventually somebody who has $250,000 is gonna hear me. So like the issue of putting up these walls and these barriers before you even get started is another reason why people don't make it happen.
It's crippling. My uncle, who's a businessman, has several businesses. He says, you need to keep putting tools in your toolbox. Every failure you have, you're going to take a tool and you're going to be able to put that in the box. When you're able to put all of these tools in the box, then you're going to come up upon a project that is custom built for your life and your experiences. So when you choose to build that house, you got all of the tools in the toolbox that you need. These parameters that people have, as far as I have to brush my teeth 3 times a day, I got to eat 3 meals a day. Who the hell told you that?
Right.
Who created this? You have to get 8 hours of sleep. You think millionaires, you think Warren Buffett got 8 hours of sleep every night? It's this mindset that's programmed to do things that really aren't going to make you happy. And I'm happy that you're here to kind of expose the vulnerability of being successful and being actually afraid of not knowing what to do in certain situations, because that's a very vulnerable place.
Absolutely.
Especially to be as successful as you are. It's easy to say I'm scared when you haven't made certain things happen, because it makes sense. But then when you actually accomplish all of these things, and for you to say that, it makes it to where everybody feels like, he's human too. It took that many mistakes to get to where you're at, and it hasn't changed you to the point to where you don't feel comfortable in your own skin because of what other people think.
No. What other people think is none of my business. What other people think about me is really none of my business. It just isn't. So, you hear people say, there's certain things you hear all the time or see all the time. Haters. What is that?
Thank you.
What is that? I don't even know what that means. And someone gives me a definition and I'm like, if that exists, I don't see it. Because I'm sure there's people out there who, Angel this, Angel, whatever, man, I gotta go over there. You guys can stay back here and keep talking that nonsense, but I gotta get over there. I have somewhere I gotta go. And then support. That's my other pet peeve. Oh, I don't get any support. There's no support in the Bay Area. You guys don't support your artists. There's no support. You know what, man? You gotta earn support. You have to earn it. And if you rely on support for your success, you're gonna fail. Absolutely, 100%. I tell you, if you rely on support for your success, stop. Just stop right there. Don't even keep going. I'll tell you why. Because if you open a restaurant, that's your business. We're gonna use an analogy. You open your restaurant, and your family, you depend on your family and your friends to come support your business. You need their support. And you know what? They're gonna come once, twice, 3 times, maybe 4. Eventually, they're gonna get tired of eating your food. So when they stop coming to your restaurant to eat your food, you're gonna throw a fit and say you just don't get the support from your friends and family. No, you gotta go out there and get new fans. You gotta go out there. Your support is only gonna carry you so long before it runs out. You know, you have to go out there and get new fans. Support is just another excuse. Nothing else, nothing less.
Wow. That's a lot to digest. Somebody probably got their feelings hurt on that. But
Amen.
no one owes you anything, and everything that you said, I mean, so many nuggets of I don't even want to call it wisdom. It's just, I say, fine tuning on your mindset. That mindset is so powerful. You have to look at yourself a totally different way in the mirror, like you're responsible for everything that happens to you.
Absolutely.
And that's a lot to put on your shoulders, but to be successful, I don't think we have a choice.
Well, you want to give that responsibility to someone else? You want to give the responsibility of your success to someone else?
I personally do.
It doesn't make any sense. So you're responsible. But see, just the way that you have to be responsible for your failures, you also have to be responsible for your successes. You have to allow yourself to celebrate, no matter how small the success is. Okay, my sister is very strict with her diet, very strict. And whenever she reaches a certain goal, she allows herself one donut. And she loves that donut for what it stands. So you have to give yourself a break. You have to celebrate those small accomplishments. With that being said, you know, you have to take responsibility. It's all on you. Whatever you accomplish or don't accomplish, it's so easy to find excuses and to find people to blame and to find, that's just taking, you know, that's just taking that responsibility off of you. Say, yeah, the man's holding me down. It's the system. It's, no, man. It's all on you.
Business minded and also, you know, renewing mindsets with this episode. Definitely appreciate you coming through.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, definitely. And this is Big Business, What's Real Hip Hop, and we are